So, hello, welcome. I was going to say, and good morning, which is, to me, that's what it feels like. So, after after a time shift to daylight savings, which I adore. I wish we could have it all year round, but it always throws me for a day or two or five. Um, and also a very hectic period of stuff going on. Not that it's going to get any less hectic, but I have been extremely busy because, let's see, in situ, which I barely even talked about, but both Kim and I were artists in the classroom for a couple of. She was doing Humber. I did Cawthra Park Secondary School grade 10s, and we helped them do projects that were shown at In Situ. So Thursday night we went to In Situ, um, the opening night, and then Friday I taught. Then Friday after teaching, I ran some errands, including getting some groceries, and then Friday, no, yeah, and then Saturday we had an opening for Cum Grano Salis at Red Hidden Gallery, um, that we all got dressed up for, which was fun because it had a science fiction theme, and it also had a very particular color scheme with silver, greens, and blues. So I did not have any of those in my wardrobe because I am I have a warm complexion, so I don't really wear much of those colors. So I did a run to the thrift shop. That was another thing I did, and got a few things, which was fun, and some nail polish that was a complete disaster the first time I did it because I haven't done it in a while. And then yeah, got up early, and everything goes better in the morning for me anyway. So anyway, I'm rambling. um, why are my comments so dark? It's just not right. I can't seem to. Oh, because that. Okay. Never mind me, guys. Boy. Okay. Hello, Philippa. And hello, Rebecca. There was just a pop-up window that I wasn't even noticing, and it was graying out my comments. So I was like, "Why can't I comment? Why can't I see them?" Because I'm very easily flustered these days. I hope you're doing well. What a beautiful day, right? Hello, Annie. Nice to have you along. I was saying to Kim, like, I seem to recall a virtual collage jam a year or two or three ago that I set in mid January, and I called it Snow Day, and it was weather like today, and there was no snow to be found. And I just thought, well, it was a reasonable expectation that there would be snow in the middle of January, but this time I think melt actually really worked. I think it really manifested, right? So I hope you guys have been getting outside for some walks in the beautiful, beautiful. Oh my God, right? So nice weather to have some sunshine and some balmier temperatures. So yeah, it was good. I actually really enjoyed this winter. I because we had winter, and I really enjoyed that. And I actually went skating a few times, which was really nice. So I never take advantage of it enough because I'm always too busy with other stuff. But it was nice to be actually doing some winter things and be able to have a proper winter. And now I'm ready for a proper spring. So let's manifest that. And what else? How are you guys doing? Have you been collaging up a storm or working on other creative projects? Let us know in the comments. And do you have a plan for the melt theme, or are you planning something else? Annie, you've long since finished Februage, so have you got another challenge on the go, or are you taking a little breather before you engage in the next one? I wouldn't blame you, but I also wouldn't. It wouldn't surprise me if you're already into another one. So, excuse me, I'm going to switch to my overhead camera in a moment. And I have a bit of a plan, which is unusual for me. So I'm going to work with that. I'll explain it once I have the overhead camera on. And I'll just take the opportunity to show you a couple of pieces that are in progress for, hopefully, if they turn out, they'll be an artist project. I took a first load of collages to be photographed, and they've been sent back to me. Now I have to do the color correction and so on and decide which ones I'm going to have prints made of. And I'm hoping to finish at least 3 or 4 more collages in the next day or two, and then take them down for photographing. And and good God willing, and the creek don't rise, I'll be able to be in time for the artist project. But it's going to be tight for my book and I know my printer is a sweetie, but I don't want to ask way too much of him, which I already am. And he says, yes, challenge 1 week, 100 people. It will get me started on working on portraits. Oh, wow. Oh my God. That's like 10. No, that's more than 10. You're supposed to do 100 people in 1 week? That's insane. Wow. I guess some of them have to be really quickies, eh? Wow. But, even if you're doing a fraction of that, that is admirable. And portraits are they're up at the skinny end of the challenging, right? But they can also be just so much fun, right? So awesome. Bravo. And Rebecca says she's been doing lots of pottery lately. No plans for today yet, just gonna play it by ear. Perfect. What sort of pottery have you been doing, Rebecca? I know you've been taking lots of classes. Have you been working on it's the wrong word, but like conventional tropes like pots and or are you doing more interesting things? I could imagine you doing animals. I know you've done ornaments, so yeah, let us know what you're cooking up. Annie, that is the hope that I will have another book. Yes. From where I stand right now, that looks like a big reach in order to get it together in time and printed in time, but it's my intent. So I've had so many things pulling me away from getting stuff done lately, but I have to put the hammer down right now. I think my next excuse me, my next commitment is, like, I teach on Friday, so I think this week, I mean, every day between now and the artist project, but this week I really have to make some progress. So started yesterday after resting up after all that other stuff I was talking about, and then did some more this morning. We'll do some more this evening. So, yep. All right, I'm going to switch to the overhead, and I will show you a couple of pieces in progress, and then I'll also show you my plan for today. So just move this over here. So we will be back to images in a sec once I get this set up in the overhead. There we go. All right, so more about that in a moment. All right, so I'm not sure this one's finished. I think it's getting close, but it is. There are a few areas that I'm not quite sure are quite working yet, like the mouth especially. But the whole idea is like to have this image and pattern sort of interplaying with the layers. So I really wanted it to be hide and seek, and I feel like the eyes are popping out nicely, and that there's some general craziness, but the mouth doesn't quite feel right to me. and Kim was saying the same thing. She's a portrait artist. I was hoping I had taken a picture of the main image before I started, but alas, no. So I have to just like figure it out from what I've got. But it's pretty crazy, but just trying to do some crazy stuff, obviously. This one also underway, not finished by any means, but I'm feeling it's promising. I layered several models. I'd forgotten that I'd layered them all. I thought I had to like two people, one on top of each other, but I had several apparently. So, and then there's a picture with someone sitting down as well in front of other models. So I'm feeling like this is like a nice, like overlapping, super confusing but interesting one. So still working on it. And this is the one I was starting, excuse me, starting today, this morning. I mean, I'd made the lasagna quite a while ago. It's not showing quite right. This is lime green, believe it or not. Just trying to, it's because okay, let's see if I can fix that. Oh, I'm not sure that's way better. It still looks yellow when it's green, but in this case, I took two models who had their hands up near their face and layered them up so that they're pretty much right on top of each other. So I think it's going to be interesting. So fingers crossed. It's still in progress. There's still a lot more to go, but so if I can get those three done and maybe one more, depending on how ambitious time, I'd love to, but we'll see about that. Rebecca says the last few weeks she's been working on throwing skills, closed forms, and lidded pots mostly, trying to master some skills before I go further. You know, that's the basic forms, and most art forms have them. And when you sort of have them sort of second nature in your hands, it just makes like you look at something and you say, oh, that's kind of like this basic form, but with this twist, or this basic form, but changed this way, right? So it gives you a starting point, and when your hands know it, that's great. So yeah, that's a great thing to do. And Rebecca also says, very tempted to copy what I saw in Sherry Boyle's exhibit, where she did small ceramic sculptures daily for a month. Wow. Yeah, that's like Annie, right? Annie would completely understand your interest in that. So I think anything that we do regularly, we get much better at quickly, and I think that's why these like 100-day challenges or month-long challenges are so successful, because people like the structure of it, but then they also look at how far they progress, right? Because it's so easy to say and so hard to do, to say, well, if you do work every day, even a little bit, you're gonna get better, right? And we all know that, but do we do it, right? So when you have those challenges, then you do it, right? And so it's very rewarding, right? And the thing is, when you are working like that, some are good, some are bad, some are medium, right? But you just make another one, right? Just whatever the challenge is, you make the next one in the challenge, and then when you go back and look at them, you will see that there were several that came out like really, really well. and there are probably some other ones that didn't come out quite the way you wanted them, but they were interesting. So they're ones that are worth revisiting and taking another kick at, right? So. How how about you, Philippa? What have you been cooking up? And are you working on something today or just chilling out? Um, all right, so I have just grabbed this image off the internet because I know it's cliche to some extent, like crocuses coming out of the snow. Um, but that's what I want. I had this idea to find a small cluster, like not a million croci. Is that right? Not a million croci, a few, and do a collage of it. And what I was thinking was, because of course, I was thinking about making it a little more interesting, and that is to do a sort of my version of a Andy Warhol and like crop it in a way that I think is interesting, and then execute the same. I'm going to trace over it with tracing paper to sort of figure out the shapes. But what I want to do is distill it to a few relatively simple shapes, and then um, make those shapes in a few different colors, and um, then execute it so that we have like 4 variants of the same image but in different colors. So a little grid of 4. So that's the plan, and let's see how it goes. So the first thing I'm going to do is figure out the crop, and I kind of feel like I want it to be a square, and I'd like at least maybe over here, just the edge of the flower to touch, and maybe that a little bit of, yeah, so I'll figure out the crop and then go from there. And no wonder it looks weird. I have my computer glasses on still. All right, get the collaging glasses on, or the AKA the working glasses. And let's see, how wide we want it to be. I'm going to do something like that. So just a little bit in from that side. And then I want it to be square. Do I want it nicking these guys, or including them, or maybe not including them at all? Yeah, I kind of feel like that might be the right place to crop it. So that is about 4 3/8, maybe, or 4 1. I'm once it goes beyond eighths, I'm like 4 1 tick under a half, which is what I'm going to go with. 4 1 tick under a half. When I went to school, I think maybe the first couple of years we were learning inches, but then or maybe not, I don't know. But most of my schooling was centimeters and metric. But then when I got out in the work world, everything was still inches. So, and then when I got into graphic design, it's like, oh no, not well, yes, inches, but more importantly, picas. So I have a foot in a few different measuring systems. I still use picas if I'm setting up a document in InDesign, and I'm sort of aware of like when I worked with it every day, I'd be like there are 6 picas to an inch, so I knew like 3/4 of an inch was 4.5 picas, and half an inch was 3 picas, and a 1/4 inch was 1.5 picas, or 1p6, 1 pica, 6 points. Um, so I don't know where that came from, but anyway, it came from my ruler. That's what it was. All right. So probably not. Depends. It'd be nice to nick the top and be really sort of close, but I think that would take it too far down to be a nice square. 4 and 1 tick under a half would be, if it's just nicking the top of that one, it's just nicking the bottom of this. So is that good? I think it should probably be higher just a little bit. Okay. So maybe like there. Okay. Oh, right. And I couldn't find my I have like 2 or 3 set squares and I couldn't find them last time I was looking. So I'm just gonna wing it. Actually, I don't have to wing it, because what I can do is approximate it on one side and then use my handy dandy grid here on my paper or on my cutting mat to help me square it up. You know, it's kind of pathetic, but I've used these cutting mats for years and years and years and years, and I would never pay any attention to the grid. And then I was working at Nielsen Park and having to like cut paper to certain sizes for classes and so on, because I was doing like night shift stuff, and there wasn't really a ton of work to do for the a lot of the time. So they had me doing simple things like that. And so I started using the grid, and it's like, it's so much easier. So I'm going to try to learn from my and use it again today to get it reasonably square. All right. I'll check in with your comments while. Oh, thank you, Philippa. Yes, I I made a complete mess of them because I used some some base coat, like some nail hardener that was all had like dried to a gelatinous, and I was too tired to realize it. So I put that on. It didn't dry properly. I put the top coat on. It didn't dry properly. So I ended up like cleaning them all off like early in the morning of the opening. But yeah, now it actually worked, you know. So I have a really troubled relationship with painting my nails because I love it, but then I hate how long it takes to dry. But this was like a quick dry nail polish and a quick dry top coat. So, and I painted them, and then I like, okay, now you're just gonna sit and watch stuff on YouTube for way too long, and so that I'm not handling anything. So I've messed up more by being, I guess lots of people would say impatient, but I think even the fast dry stuff takes like way too long. But I digress. Thank you. It is a nice color. I don't wear blues or greens very much, so before I went to buy it, I Googled what's a good blue or green. Actually, a blue. What's a good blue for someone with an autumnal palette? And this was one of the colors that got mentioned. So I thought, okay, sounds good. I'll go with that. And there was a fair bit of this kind of color in the exhibit, which was kind of fun to and all the artists came in different variants of blue, green, and silver. So it was fun. Yeah, so the opening was quite busy because openings are, right? And if you have several artists, then you have more people coming, right? Um, but the show goes on until I think near the end of March. So like any other day, I think Redhead's open Tuesday or Wednesday to Saturday. Um, it'll be like crickets in there, one or two. Well, no, because 401 Richmond has good traffic, so but it won't be packed, right? You'll be able to go and check it out. Or if you want, Kim and I will both be there again on the 21st, which is a Saturday afternoon, and all the artists are going to talk just a little bit about their work. Mine's very simple, I think, so I won't be talking long, but there are some really interesting pieces, and so those artists will probably have more to say. So, all right, I need a. That's what I need, a pen. Just going to ink in my edges so I can see them better. Oh, I got to get Kim back on this because when I start thinking about things, I go quiet, and then when she's here, we have someone else to keep the chat going. So, but she's actually attending I don't know what it's about, but a webinar this afternoon. So she couldn't have joined us anyway, but I'm also just marking like a 1/4 inch off, and I'm just going to cut it closer, but not right to the edges. I don't know. It feels like a good idea to do that. Now watch it become a hindrance in some way that I didn't anticipate. Could happen. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just like tape it to a piece of tracing paper and use drawing to figure out the shapes that I want to use, because I don't want it to be excessively detailed. I want it to be as simple as I can manage. I always, and sometimes when I just, that's my alarm that tells me don't drink any more coffee as I have some more coffee. It's actually last call. I call it last call. So, because I am more sensitive to caffeine than I would prefer. So what I'm going to do is draw these shapes or trace these shapes and figure out what is the simplification that I want. And it will be more challenging than because I always want to add more detail, and this is small, right? So I want to simplify it as much as possible. So let's see how I do with that. So obviously the individual flowers are fairly straightforward shapes. So that's, I think the place where I'm probably going to run into more trouble is trying to figure out this stuff sort of at the base. Like the snow has white areas and then sort of semi-transparent areas that are sort of gray, and I'm not sure that I want to pay attention to that. So I'll just have to pick the edge between the snow and the ground. And while there is something dark and light, or sorry, light in the ground area, I'm going to ignore that. I will use some of the green areas, but probably not all of them. Maybe I'll eliminate some of the really tiny ones just to keep things simpler. And I don't know, this might be a bud, but I'm going to ignore it. So yeah. And this is a bit of a trick, like I want to keep it simple, so do I... Yeah, well, I guess I'll probably figure that out. But what, Kat? You didn't say. I know, I'm sorry. The perimeter is like, these are fine, but then this one's sort of sitting in front of the other one, so it's not part of the perimeter. So the simplest thing would just be cut around the perimeter and just make that one piece. And that is what I'm going to try to do, but we'll see how that goes. I may decide, and this is where I get out of control, is I may decide, okay, well, I should have like a whiter area in the center and a darker area on the outside. And maybe or maybe not, that is taking it too far. I should know which is which, but this sort of cluster of pistil and stamen, I'm just going to say it's probably both. In that sort of very sort of saffron color. I think that's where saffron actually comes from, so not surprisingly, it's saffron colored. That's an important thing, and it could just be like one piece of a sort of yellow-orange like that. And the question is how much detail. This may be too much. That, I think, is not. That's like a little bit of cedar, I think. So we'll ignore that and get these petal shapes. Because what I'm thinking is I'm going to try to make like one cluster of maybe, like I think yellow and purple are the most obvious crocus colors. But I'm not sure. I think you can get white ones as well. And so then that would be a question of like, okay, white petals and white snow. So that might be a case for snow that is like whatever I use for the snow for that one to be a little bluer or something like that. Still sort of icy blue that feels cold, but will set off the white petals. And so, is anyone working with the melt theme per se? And if so, what's your plan? I chose what I chose today because I found out that someone I'm like a friend of mine had her husband passed away, so I thought, okay, I'd like to make some sort of image for her, and rather than a Hallmark card. And I thought, but I'm already jammed for time, so I thought, well, maybe is there a way I could do it for Virtual Collage Jam and still make it work with the with the theme? And then I thought of crocuses in the snow and thought, yep, that works. Because there's something what's the right word? Like hope springs eternal when you're. I mean, obviously, it's a bereavement kind of situation, not a illness kind of situation. But I still think a little hope in the moment is beneficial. Hope or cheer or. I remember when, and I've felt this way a few times when people have passed. One of the first ones that was sort of early on in my experience, like not super early on, but so I would have been in my early 20s, I guess. And Kim and I were just together, and no, so mid to late 20s, I guess. Her grandmother passed, and I remember, being there with her. It was very intense, and then after she passed, we eventually left the hospital, and not really having any idea what of anything else, right? Because we've been so immersed emotionally, and coming out into this like glorious sunny day and looking around and seeing like all the people doing what they do every day, and just thinking, how is it possible that they don't know what's just happened, right? And I mean, it feels both affirming um, and kind of gutting, right? In both, like it sort of hits you at both. Like life goes on, but no, it doesn't, And it's this interesting um, disconnect, friction, bizarre feeling that you have. Um, I don't know how I got onto that. I guess I was thinking about like hope versus despair, and well, I guess it's all the human things we cope with. Um, All right. But I didn't mean to get off onto a negative topic. Sorry, guys. But that is why I chose what I did today. Yeah. I did say I'd try not to do all these little green leaf shapes, so I'll try and maybe I'll trace them, but then edit them with an eraser once I look at them divorced, because I can, like, once we look at it this way, you can sort of see the shapes they are without the images. So I kind of feel this cluster over here, even though it doesn't have a flower, is beneficial. So I'm going to put that in. It's hard to see through the kind of doing half fiction here. And trying to adjust the shapes just a little bit to make them easier for collage, to have some, make the negatives not super tiny. Oh, that's not even, that's in the snow, not a leaf thing. All right. All right. Didn't actually figure out where that one ended. It actually is shaped differently than I have it there, like that. All right. So now what I'm going to do is just try to do the snow, like it's very crystalline snow. And so I'm trying to, I guess the trick with that is to, like, the crystalline nature of it makes it important that it have the sort of chunks to sort of read as it is. But again, I don't want to end up with like insane amounts of work for myself cutting them. So, and everyone's laughing at me because they know that, yeah, cat is going to end up with insane amounts of detail. I'm not. I promise you, I'm not. Famous last words. All right, I will check in with comments in just a minute or two. Once I get a little more of this sort of, and I figure this is just going to be like a hole in the snow through which we see the ground. I'm not going to get crazy with anything in the snow other than, I'm just going to say it's either the ground showing through or the snow. And what I might be able to do, depending on what I find in my collage materials, is I might be able to find like some kind of a pattern or color that sort of will add some richness of its own that feels somewhat in alignment with snow, but isn't actually. And so I'm picking a few spots where we're going to see through this, like little holes in the snow where you, because it's so chunky and crystalline. But where's this? Yeah, I just sort of have to decide where the line is going to be in this case. I'll put it around here. And And I think it should sort of come there on that, which will mean I'm lowering the snow line a little bit, in this case intentionally, so that these green leaves show up better. And I will then make a second shape as if there's another little gap up here where this one's poking out of. So I think that'll work. I know, I said I'd check in. I'll be there in a sec, promise. Right, that should go up behind it because this should actually come into it a little more. And I think we're good. Okay, it'd be helpful to trace the frame so that I get a sense of the composition. All right, quick check-in with you guys. And yes, Rebecca, I know you probably asked this like 20 minutes ago. Yes, I have tried nail transfers, and the ones that you get at Shoppers, the Dashing Diva brand, those are awesome. I bought some online that gave my nails problems, but yes, I love. And I'm not sure whether that's what you're referring to. If you're referring to something water slide, but these are the ones I'm referring to were like stickers, like you clean the nail and then you just put a vinyl sticker on it and file off the ends. I adore those because they're not messy, they're fairly durable, and like more durable than these. They don't chip. So yes, I am a big fan of those. So the color palette. I wish they just had more colors. I've even looked online for that brand. Do you have a brand you like? If so, let me know. Because like there's like a nice sort of dark red that Dashing Diva has, and then there's they don't have like a sort of solid normal red, which I love, strong red. Hello, Nellie. The camera is not focusing on the tracing paper. Oh, I'm so sorry. All right. No, you're right. It's like blasting it out, isn't it? All right, let's try. All right, well, I benefit from having the light, but that actually means you can see something. So I'm so sorry about that. Yeah, I had my head down and was concentrating. So thank you, Annie, for pointing that out. Saffron is the stigma, top part of the female pistil, or of autumn or saffron crocus. Ah, lovely. And no particular brand, that's fine. Like I'm gonna try somewhere else. Like I know the one I didn't like, it sort of peeled my nails up a bit, which which took a while to heal. But the Dashing Diva ones, even though they're the limited palette, they are quite good. For instance, I wore some up to Halliburton. Like I did them before I left, and then taught 2 weeks with like messy materials and everything, and they just stood up the whole 2 weeks, which is awesome. So yeah. All right. I'm so sorry about that tracing paper not showing up. And this is still not showing up very well until I put the crocuses under it, but better than before, right? So what I've done is I have created a few different, it's probably still too complicated, but I think I'm going to go with it. I'm wondering about this set down here of sort of green shoots that are right beside the snow edge. It is like that in the photograph, but I think I might just shift them over a bit. I'm just going to trace them in a different, slightly a little further away from the snow edge spot that I had. Just make up the snow edge again that I erased, and then put them a little further over. And I think I'll make it more obviously too. It's actually three little little shoots, but they're sort of overlapping like almost perfectly. So I've made them into more of a Y, which I think is better. And then this small pair, I think I'll also do that just to make them a little more, maybe not super different, but a little more clear. And then I'll do a little editing on this. There are two over here that overlap. I'm just going to make them a little simpler. Not doing a very good job of it. Let me take a look at the, okay, I see. Now, I was referring back to this, but I don't actually need to, but I was wondering why they ended up sort of running together the way they did, and it's just because I couldn't see them properly through the tracing paper. So now I think I'm close. Okay, so what next? Well, actually, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to step away from you for just a couple of minutes, and I'm going to go make a couple of photocopies of this. In fact, I guess I should put it on a sheet of white paper, so this will do. Because I'm going to use it as a template to cut different options for. So I have the flowers, I have the snow, I have the green leaves, so that's 3. I have the stamen pistils thingies, that's 4, and the ground, which is 5. I think that's right. So I have 5 different elements. So what I might do is, I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to break it down yet into the collageable bits, but I'm going to make a few copies and then I'll show you what's next. Because I think it's going to be easier to show than for this girl to try to articulate. All right, sorry I was gone there for a minute. Like an idiot, I only made one copy, so I'm making a few more now, but at least I have one to start with. And so probably the first thing I'm going to do is figure out 4 different things to use for snow. So, and that they're all going to be slightly different, I think, but still try and read as snow. So I'm going to look through my paper drawers for that, and that's going to be the base piece. And maybe what I'll do is cut a hole in it. I'm not sure whether it's better to glue the ground onto it or cut a hole and then show the ground through it, but one thing at a time. But I think those are the first 2 things at the bottom, and then work my way up to the leaves and then the flowers and then the pistil stamen other thing. So I have a huge pile of art books here, which I use to press my collages, and it's right in front of my Collage Warmest classic. Now what? Ah, the delights of high tech. All right, so for the snow, probably maybe one of them will, but most of them will be like something not quite white, but let's see what I've got in my blue drawer. I know I have some colors that are like very light blue. So that's a good one right there. Oh, actually, it's showing up not too badly. I was surprised. I'm surprised that it was. I thought, oh, you won't be able to see that. That's a good color too, sort of like a gray blue, except I don't have enough of it. And of course, you know what I'm thinking now, guys, is I'm thinking, oh, I should have like an intermediate color. It should be white on the outside, and then I should use like a blue-gray close to the ground that sort of is, and then the ground itself. I'm trying to slap my wrist and say, no, don't do that. Because, Lordy, I always want to overcomplicate things. So I'm really going to try not to this time. Check how big my square is. Yeah, no, it's not quite. That's not quite big enough. Oh, this is perfect. That's awesome. That's like a faded gel plate print that has a bit of white in it. So that's exactly the kind of thing that will be perfect for this. Yay. And maybe the same with this, right? It's got some areas that are white and some areas that are still pretty light, but have interesting textures. Gel plate prints to the rescue. That has too many other colors, I think. And then the other thing I'll do is I'll look in my gray drawer, or my for sort of off-whites. And I should probably think about something that I mean, one of the things with Warhol that makes them charming is that they have unusual colors. So maybe one of them I should have the snow as being like some crazy color. That's pretty funny tile, but you never know, I might give it a whirl. It's still pretty white, so white and off-white, so. I might be able to find chunks out of this sort of white background enough to make it without going too nuts. I mean, it doesn't look as natural, but it does have a bit of a feeling of like sunlight on snow, so. That might be, well, that's sort of like grimy snow, but that might actually, I might use that as one option for the ground. I'm not sure. Oh, and white text is probably a good choice for maybe not quite that bold, but like a lighter font might be nice. There's a light gray. I'm obviously going to have more than one option, but that's fine. Or more than 4 options, sorry. There's a sort of slightly warm with a bit of fleck to it. And let's see about yeah, something like that has a lighter gray text to it that feels good. All right, I doubt I'm going to use a diagram, but there's something about it that I have to include it in the mix of possibilities at the beginning anyway. Okay, too many options. And I guess if I put all 4 on like a dark background, like black or blue, then whatever light backgrounds I choose. And I still may end up deciding like that one of my backgrounds has to be like really dark blue or something. You know what? Like maybe like a sort of a strong icy blue, which I thought was too strong, but I think I need to do it. Like a real strong turquoise or like that. That might be too dark. Yeah, I kind of feel like this is a good choice. It's also one of my favorite colors for collaging with. So one of them is going to have very unrealistic color. So, all right. So first thing I'm going to do is cut out one of my squares, and then I'll just use that as a template to cut the other squares, the background squares, the snow squares. Now, I suppose I could use either the negative or the positive. I think maybe because I can fit the negative onto a corner like this, that's beneficial. Take advantage of some of the square corners of sheets so that I don't have to cut all the edges. And just put a couple little cut tick marks. I know this part is like watching paint dry. I know. I'm sorry, guys. If Cat's Virtual Collage Jam was a better show, more like a prepared, like a cooking show, I would have done all of this ahead of time, right? And maybe that's something I need to learn for future. Already have my ingredients ready. Like I've cut out these squares and I've done this drawing, simplified drawing already. Like, yeah. The more I think about it, the more I think, yes, that's the professional thing to do. So it's always good to have room to grow, right? How many years have I been doing this, and I'm still haven't learned some of the basics, I tell you. Okay, so let's see how wide the square is compared to the text, and do I want it square? Do I want it sort of the column break to be off center? Kind of think I do. Exactly what size orientation, I will decide that actually later. I'll just cut it out first, because it might be nice to have like the horizontal stress of the text looking horizontal like the ground, like this. And I can't see my cut marks at all. I know they're there. They're just little cut marks though. Oh, all right, it's gonna be, I think I see it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is cut outside so that I can actually see them. There we go. Once I find them again. All right, so one corner's there. The one's over here somewhere. And that means it's down here somewhere. Right, there it is. You would think I would know how to do this by now. Okay. It's much easier to find the corners on a little nick marks that I made with my knife on a plain sheet of paper than it is on something that's got print on it already. So I needed a plan B there, or a better strategy anyway. And this is working out all right. So this one's hard to make out. All right, two bits of snow. Yeah, I think that's not, but I think this one's definitely promising. And maybe it should have some of the white and some of the blue. And maybe not so much of that because it's very active. That's kind of nice. Because this area up here is active, but it's sort of way off in the corner. So I think that could work well, actually. So this one good thing about using the window rather than the piece, it means I get to sort of preview the crop, and that's really beneficial. So and move it around until I like it. So that's, the more I think about it, the more that's a no-brainer. But that is for sure the way to go. Okay, again, these are hard to find. All right, that helps me find that corner. Oh, I guess I could do it on the back side because I can see them. Okay. I'll check in with comments in just a couple of minutes. I hope you guys are also having fun collaging away. Yeah, I'm just thinking like, wow, it's so much. I've used so much of my time just doing like prep work, which is important, right? But it's not the stuff that makes the makes it fun for you guys. So I apologize. I will aim to improve. I've kind of got a dinged corner, so maybe I'll go on this corner instead. Go. Yeah, and of course my ruler slipped a little bit, so that one's not quite the square I was hoping it was going to be. Yeah, I think that's maybe not such a great idea. All right, so these are the 4 I have now so far. I have sort of a text, gel plate, texture, text, and then a couple of solids. I am going to try 1 or 2 more, and then I will just move between. I'll choose the ones I like as I go. This one I'd have to make composite because I don't think any of my spaces are big enough on their own, but it might be worth doing. So let's see, what's the most, that's kind of fun with those peeling parts, isn't it? Okay, so we'll do this, take this part, and then I will put some, all right, get these out from underneath so I'm not cutting into them too. And I'll just cut something to go over top of the model here, or I'll just lop this, and probably better to do it that way. Just lop her off and then add another piece on. Okay, I can see the top from this side, so that's a start. And can I see both the ticks? It looks like it. Oh, famous last words. Oh, there it is. Okay. I'm just cutting it on the other side because it seems to be easier to find the my cut marks on this side than it was on the other side. So now, in one respect, it might be kind of interesting to have her like sort of shoved off to the side in amongst crocuses, but in this case, I think I'll probably not go that route. And okay, so because I want it to sort of continue, I think I'll just extend these lines out, and then I'll paste or put them together so that they, I mean, I guess that's her shadow there, so that might or might not mess me up, but it might be like, who knows, whatever, right? Once things get out of context, it can be, so if I now whop her out of it, try and use my grid again to get a reasonably square cut. and then say, okay, so I need it to be four and one tick under half. I mean, how could one forget, right? Actually, that's not far off. That's pretty good. Just close it up a little bit. And a little bit, tape it in place, make sure it's at the right same width at the bottom, which it is, more or less, maybe just a little. There we go. And glue stick it together. I know it's more work for a background than just but well, I guess it's a two-piece background. It's not that involved. But it is, I guess, more involved for something I said I was going to try and keep simple. And you're like, you did say that, Kat. And now I'm seeing you making it more complicated. Yep, guilty as charged. And this edge is not quite even, so pop that off. Hopefully I can get the tape off without hurting the paper. It does feel a little human-made, but I also it has more interest than just a flat color, so there is benefit to that. All right, this one I'm going to see whether I can find an area that ends up looking like enough like snow and not like dirty snow that it'll be okay. Let's see. There's this. Okay, it's like there's a sort of a shape in there that I want to sort of defeat. Let me look at there's my flower composition again. Upside down. Yeah, I think this could work pretty well, actually. I so love, like, I wasn't sort of thinking of this because I hadn't thought that far, but I really love being able to sort of use this this frame to be able to figure out the crop that I want. It's very intuitive and easy, and because I have a design background, I adore choosing crops or just optimizing crops. It's something that I've always loved. Like, oh, look, you just sort of shift the crop over there, and that's way more better, right? Learning to sort of see what to include and what not to include, and how little differences of the way you crop things make big differences. Like cropping out extraneous details or cropping something so that it runs off the page, which makes it feel like it was bigger than it like it couldn't be contained, or off center, which is always interesting. Cropping to sort of think about rule of thirds, etc. Okay, so we have 6 different snow backgrounds and 5 minutes left. I guess I will look at your comments as I wrap up in a few minutes. I'm going to go a few minutes over. If you have to leave right at 3:30, thanks for joining us. I am going to continue just a bit longer because I want to. I want to get just a little bit further. So I'm going to show you what I'm envisioning for the next step, which is, might as well, I'll use this one first. So I'm going to put a little bit of tape to sort of hold these together. And then what I'm going to do is cut right through it in just the shape of the hole to the ground in the snow. So that will mean I have holes in this piece that I could then slip like a sort of earthy color underneath to show through. And I think that would be, that feels to me like the right way of going about it. And that will sort of achieve the sort of base pieces, the ground and the snow, and then eventually the glory of the flowers and green will happen. All right, so now what I didn't do was sort of envision what it would be like behind the flowers and so on. So I'll just be winging that part. And since it'll be behind, it won't matter anyway, so. And the fact that snow has that, especially this kind of late winter snow, often has that crystalline quality. It makes using a knife and just kind of putting in angular hack marks means it's fine. Like it suits it. So I'm just gonna go across these flowers because none of that we'll see, and then you'll see over here. And so now I'll resume making sort of crystalline snow shapes. And hopefully once I put something dark, like dark brown, or maybe a textured sort of forest floor photograph or something in behind, it will feel like you're seeing it through sort of chunky holes in the snow. Sorry, I just realized, well, I'll do it the next time. So the best thing to have done, and this was what I had planned, but because I'm a bear of little brain, what I had meant to do was stack up 2 or 3 of these and cut all the way through for the ground, so that I cut the same shaped hole in all of them, and then I can tuck different grounds behind. But since I'm this far along, I'll do it on the other ones, not this one. And that is great when you can cut once and have several different pieces cut in the same shape. It does make it a bit trickier when you're cutting through several layers. You have to end up going back. I mean, I'll probably still end up going back to try and like get this fully out. You know how it is when you are cutting through. It doesn't always quite release. You didn't quite get your cuts to quite align. The little parts that you have to sort of like perforate out or go back and cut a little bit more. And that just gets worse when you are cutting through 3, 4, 5 layers. That said, that's what I'm going to do for the next one because it's still better than repeating this complex cut several times. So. And the more I cut it, the more I realize, wow, I got carried away with this edge. And it's a little simpler over here. That's good. It's kind of like pixels, but at jaunty angles. So lots of little short, straight edges, but some of them are jagged rather than blocky like pixels. So I just have my original sitting in my photocopier, so or my printer that also photocopies. So I can just make more prints to help with the rest of these cutouts. I'll just make more copies because I'll probably do the same thing with the flowers, with the leaves, and with the stamens, right? So I'll stack up the sheets that I'll use for each one of those and cut through them all. I haven't even made it through where? Here. Oh, right, because it's but that doesn't make sense. Or maybe I missed some of it. I think that's it. Okay. I'm just talking to myself. Always a good sign. All right, so let's take that out. So while I'm perforating this out, I'll tell you our next one in a fortnight is the theme is mountains. Mountains are always so majestic, and they make any kind of landscape scene interesting. But you may want to be like, oh, what about like Candy Mountain, or like a mountain as a metaphor, or maybe a molehill, right? So there are always, as always, many ways you can spin any of the themes we come up with. So hopefully that sounds like something that would be fun for you to work with. And so that'll be, I think that's the 23rd, if memory serves. And that is the same week as the artist project. Gulp, says Kat. So hopefully I haven't completely lost my mind by the time we next see each other on Virtual Collage Jam. Yeah, even just cutting through the 2 layers, I'm having trouble getting my my hole in the snow perfed out, but I think it's going reasonably well. What's going on here, though? Something. Okay, because it goes up and then it comes down. Did I miss something, though? Did I miss that part? What did I do? Okay, it's that. And that. No, it's not missing. As soon as I flip it over, I can't tell. That's, well, I'm just going to wing it. Okay. All right, so now what I have is the holes that will see the ground through. Not quite, you don't yet, Kat. Just this one doesn't want to quite go quietly. Okay, so just to get a drive-by feel, I picked some dark brown, which, you know, I might choose black, I might choose patterns. The brown might be one option, but so there we go. So that, then the green shoots will be coming out from this patch of, I think black will be a good option for, at least for one of them. Then I'll choose like zingy green and then the flowers on top. So that's a lot of work for, not a lot of reward for you guys, so I apologize. But when I'm not walking and chewing gum, I'll be able to automate it a little bit better, as I mentioned, and then hopefully execute them. So I'm just going to switch over to the to this camera here and check out your final comments and sign off. All right, so hello, Joy. If you're still here, thank you for joining us. That's awesome. Joy says, "Hi, Kat. That icy blue reminds me of glacier water crevasses, right? Yeah, because it's as you look down, you get that beautiful colors. Oh my God, they're so beautiful. Very appropriate." She says, "I thought I left the ice behind. Now that I'm amongst the cherry blossoms." Sorry, but you're what we can only dream of. You're like a month ahead at least, or like 2 months probably, if you got cherry blossoms. So that's great. And he says, "Thanks, Cal. Have a great productive week." Thank you. I'll see you all next time. Thank you so much, Annie, and thank you everyone else. And I'll just confirm that, yeah, 2 weeks from now is the 23rd, March 23rd, Monday at 2 p.m. for Mountains. And until then, I will see you. Keep on collaging. Post anything you do to Virtual Collage Jam group on Facebook. And we'll see you the next time. Thanks, guys.